Certainly. Here is a rewritten version of the article, adhering to the specified requirements. The unfolding conflict between Russia and Ukraine has reached a critical juncture, marked by a series of dramatic military engagements and strategic maneuvers. President Zelensky recently received a cryptic message that could signal a significant shift in the war's dynamics. After enduring more than a year of intense combat, Ukraine stands on the brink of a turning point, buoyed by essential support from Western allies. The anticipated arrival of F-16 warplanes was expected to tip the scales in Ukraine's favor, but reports of their destruction by Russian forces have cast a shadow over their potential impact. While rumors swirl about their fate, official confirmation is pending, leaving both combatants and international observers in suspense. This clandestine aerial encounter could mark a pivotal moment in the conflict, reshaping the strategic landscape. On September 26, 2024, the Russian military launched a pre-dawn assault on the Ukrainian airport of Old Konstantinov, claiming to have destroyed at least 2 F-16s. However, Ukrainian authorities have yet to verify these claims, and the lack of clarity only deepens the mystery. In the modern warfare theater, information spreads rapidly, and rumors can wield as much power as the most advanced weaponry. If the Russian forces indeed employed Kinzhal hypersonic missiles to down the F-16s, it would underscore the formidable deterrence posed by these cutting-edge systems. Currently, neither Ukraine nor NATO possesses effective countermeasures against such technology, highlighting a critical vulnerability. The unexpected death of a U.S. military advisor in Ukraine adds a further layer of complexity. A social media post by his spouse inadvertently disclosed the loss of an F-16, suggesting possible direct U.S. involvement in Ukrainian military operations. This unforeseen revelation underscores the transformative power of information in today's digital era. A single unguarded post can dramatically influence the course of an entire conflict. The targeted airport serves as a crucial base for Ukrainian operations, frequently subjected to Russian attacks. It is an ideal location for deploying F-16s, making it a strategic focal point in the conflict. The precision of the Russian strike hints at enhanced intelligence and coordination capabilities. In response, the United States has announced the provision of AGM-154 JSOW glide bombs to Ukraine, potentially amplifying the effectiveness of the F-16s. However, the true impact of these advanced weapons remains uncertain, especially given the current security challenges facing these aircraft. With the retirement of the last F-16s from the Dutch Air Force, other NATO nations may escalate their support for Ukraine. Nonetheless, the robust Russian air defenses raise doubts about whether this assistance can truly alter the war's dynamics. The introduction of F-16s should bolster the Ukrainian Air Force's capabilities, yet if they were indeed quickly neutralized, it may expose weaknesses in Ukraine's defenses and highlight the military disparities. The next steps for both Russia and Ukraine are fraught with uncertainty. Russia is likely to intensify its assaults on Ukrainian air bases to neutralize the F-16 threat and mitigate their effectiveness. Meanwhile, Ukraine must urgently enhance its air defenses to protect its valuable aerial assets and prevent further losses. The United States and NATO might need to reassess their military support strategies, potentially supplying more advanced air defense systems to safeguard Ukrainian bases. The death of a U.S. military advisor on a Ukrainian base raises questions about the extent of Western involvement in the conflict. If U.S.-Iran engagement is more extensive than publicly acknowledged, it could spark a broader geopolitical debate about NATO's role in Ukraine. History teaches us that the introduction of new warplanes can rapidly alter the dynamics of a conflict. Yet in today's information-driven warfare, no weapon system is immune to the vagaries of chance. The situation in Ukraine echoes the downing of the F-117 stealth bomber during the Kosovo War in 1999, reminding us that even the most sophisticated weapons are not invincible. In the Kursk region, the Russian Ministry of Defense reports staggering losses for the Ukrainian offensive, claiming over 9,000 casualties among Ukrainian forces. Western analysts estimate that Ukrainian troops in the area number around 12,000. Indicating a devastating loss of nearly 80% of their forces. These figures starkly illuminate the intensity and shortcomings of the offensive, highlighting the formidable challenges faced by the Ukrainian military. Despite suffering massive personnel and equipment losses, the Ukrainian army has not abandoned its offensive in the Kursk region. Rather than retreating, they continue their advance, fighting fiercely over strategically vital territories within Russian borders. This bold action, despite the grim situation, demonstrates a resolve to alter the pessimistic outlook, although many uncertainties persist. The question lingers: can these tactical successes translate into lasting strategic benefits? Or will Ukraine capitalize on these gains for political leverage? In an unexpected twist, the offensive commenced in early February amid the harsh winter months when Russian defensive lines were less vigilant. The Ukrainian military meticulously planned the operation, exploiting the Russian army's defensive laxity with a surprise assault. Employing over 200 tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, and artillery units, Ukraine executed a blitzkrieg tactic, capturing several strategically crucial points near Kursk and advancing close to the city limits. Intense street fighting ensued, with the Ukrainian army momentarily gaining the upper hand through surprise tactics and thorough preparation, exerting significant pressure on Russian forces. However, the Russian military swiftly mounted a counteroffensive, deploying reinforcements, including elite airborne units and armored divisions, and launching massive artillery and rocket attacks on Ukrainian positions. The initial Ukrainian tactical advances were stalled by the Russian response, which saw coordinated mobilization of reserve troops to defend their positions. Despite the initial progress, the Ukrainian forces found their offensive momentum hampered by the Russian artillery and counterattacks. The Ukrainian offensive in Kursk underscores their capacity for surprise and coordinated assaults, even amid significant losses. However, the challenge remains. Can Ukraine leverage these tactical achievements into a lasting strategic or political advantage? The coming weeks will be critical in determining whether Operation Kursk results in a strategic breakthrough or remains a tactical intermezzo. The battle for Kursk, marked by heavy Ukrainian losses, holds strategic implications for Russia. Although the initial phase favored Ukraine, the toll on Ukrainian troops has been substantial. According to unofficial estimates, Ukraine lost about 9,000 troops, approximately 80% of their deployed forces, along with over 100 tanks and 200 armored vehicles. Such losses strain Ukraine's strategic capabilities, complicating the continuation of their operation. Despite these setbacks, Ukrainian decision-makers remain resolute, intensifying military efforts to control key regions like Kursk. Their aim is to bolster Ukraine's negotiating position in future peace talks. This strategy, while showing foresight, also carries significant risks. Should the offensive falter, Ukraine risks not only losing elite units, but also suffering a severe blow to troop morale. The outcome of the battle could directly impact Ukraine's political stance and stability. For Russia, the battle for Kursk presents significant challenges. The Russian army had to redeploy troops from other fronts to counter the Ukrainian advance, providing Ukraine with a much-needed respite in other war zones. Ukraine managed to breach Russian defensive lines and penetrate the Kursk region, dealing a blow to Russian morale. In response, the Russian army was forced to rapidly deploy resources to stabilize the front in Kursk and prevent further escalation. The strategic consequences of the Ukrainian offensive, while costly, have altered the strategic landscape for Russia. The Russian military has had to restructure its forces and reorganize defense lines to prevent the situation in Kursk from escalating further. Even if the operation does not change the overall war dynamics, it demonstrates Ukraine's ability to make targeted strategic advances that disrupt Russia's plans. The upcoming weeks will be decisive in determining whether Ukraine can convert these tactical gains into long-term strategic advantages. Russia's stern response to the Ukrainian offensive threatens to escalate the conflict. Moscow has declared that the military actions pose a serious threat to Russia's territorial security, warning that it may be compelled to take harsher countermeasures if Kiev persists in its attacks. The Russian stance is clear and suggests that a strong response is inevitable. The battle in Kursk paints a grim picture, exposing the brutality of war. The city streets have become battlegrounds, forcing countless civilians to flee their homes. Over 100,000 residents of Kursk have been evacuated, turning what was once a vibrant city into a landscape of destruction. The economic repercussions of the conflict are profound, with significant industrial centers in Kursk suffering immense damage. Important facilities have been severely damaged or destroyed, leading to estimated economic losses of several billion US dollars. This conflict, seemingly without end, highlights the extensive devastation left in its wake. The Battle of Kursk not only reflects the far-reaching effects on the city, but also underscores the deep scars that war leaves behind. While the fighting continues, diplomatic efforts for conflict resolution seem far removed. As the dust settles, the question remains, what will be the long-term impact on Ukraine and Russia, both politically and strategically? Will the course of this conflict inspire a new path toward peace, or will it lead to further entrenchment and escalation? The world watches closely as these developments unfold, hoping for a resolution that might bring stability to the region. The unfolding events in Kursk serve as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of war and the profound impact it has on nations and their people. These stories of bravery and resilience in the face of adversity are not just tales of military strategy, but human endurance. As we consider the future, one must ask, will these battles be remembered as the turning points that led to peace, or will they simply be chapters in a prolonged saga of conflict? Encouraging likes and subscriptions, we invite you to join us in this journey of exploration and understanding. How will this story end? Only time will tell, but your engagement can help shine a light on these crucial issues and foster a broader dialogue. Will the lessons learned here guide us toward a more peaceful future, or will history repeat itself in the cycles of conflict and resolution? Stay tuned as we continue to delve into these critical topics, bringing you the latest insights and analysis from the front lines and beyond. This version aims to maintain the original style and content while adhering to the character limit requirement. Certainly, here is a continuation of the narrative, focusing on the broader implications and dynamics of the conflict. As the conflict between Russia and Ukraine intensifies, the strategic stakes continue to rise. Russia's stern response to the Ukrainian offensive in the Kursk region underscores the gravity of the situation. Moscow has unequivocally stated that Ukraine's military actions pose a direct threat to Russia's territorial security. This declaration suggests that Russia is prepared to escalate its military response if Kiev persists in its aggressive maneuvers, potentially drawing in more international actors and heightening tensions between Russia and NATO countries. The battle raging in Kursk serves as a grim illustration of the war's brutality, transforming vibrant urban landscapes into battlegrounds and displacing tens of thousands of civilians. Over 100,000 residents have been forced to flee, leaving the city in a state of desolation. The economic impact is equally significant, with major industrial hubs suffering extensive damage. Key facilities have been either severely damaged or completely destroyed, resulting in projected economic losses amounting to several billion US dollars. This ongoing conflict underscores the profound devastation that war brings, affecting not just the immediate combatants, but also the broader socio-economic fabric of the region. Despite the ongoing hostilities, diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict appear distant. The long-term repercussions for both Ukraine and Russia remain uncertain. Politically, the conflict has the potential to reshape strategic dynamics in Eastern Europe, influencing future peace negotiations. Strategically, the continued fighting might inspire a new path toward peace or lead to further entrenchment and escalation. Observers around the globe are keenly watching these developments, hoping for a resolution that could bring stability to the region. The events unfolding in Kursk serve as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of war and its profound impact on nations and their citizens. These stories of courage and resilience in the face of adversity are not merely about military strategy, but also human endurance. As we contemplate the future, we must consider whether these battles will be remembered as turning points that led to peace, or merely as chapters in a prolonged saga of conflict. As we continue to explore the complexities of this conflict, we invite you to join us on this journey of understanding. Stay engaged and informed as we delve into these critical issues, providing you with the latest insights and analysis from the front lines and beyond. The lessons learned from this situation may guide us toward a more peaceful future or serve as a reminder of the cyclical nature of conflict and resolution in human history. Your engagement is vital in shedding light on these issues and fostering a broader dialogue about the paths to peace and stability in the region. This section continues to examine the broader implications and potential future outcomes of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Certainly, here is the next continuation of the narrative. As the situation in Ukraine and Russia continues to evolve, the international community remains on edge, closely monitoring the developments in the conflict. The recent escalation in the Kursk region highlights the ongoing volatility and the potential for further confrontation. With both sides suffering significant casualties and losses, the stakes have never been higher, and the path to peace seems fraught with challenges. The Ukrainian offensive, which began in the harsh winter months, was marked by a bold and calculated strategy. By exploiting perceived weaknesses in Russian defenses, Ukrainian forces managed to make initial gains, capturing key strategic points near Kursk. However, this progress came at a steep cost, with Ukrainian forces enduring heavy casualties and equipment losses. Despite these setbacks, Ukraine's resolve remains unshaken as it seeks to leverage its tactical successes for strategic or political gains. Conversely, Russia's swift and decisive counteroffensive underscores its commitment to maintaining control over the contested regions. The rapid deployment of reinforcements and the use of elite units to stabilize the front lines demonstrate Russia's military prowess and determination to prevent further Ukrainian advances. This response has not only stalled Ukrainian momentum, but also highlighted the formidable challenges facing Ukraine as it continues its military efforts. The broader implications of this conflict extend beyond the immediate battlefield. For Ukraine, the ongoing struggle is as much about securing territorial integrity as it is about strengthening its position in future peace negotiations. The heavy losses suffered in the Kursk offensive highlight the risks inherent in such high-stakes operations, but they also reflect Ukraine's strategic determination to alter the status quo. For Russia, the conflict presents significant strategic considerations. The need to redeploy troops and resources to counter the Ukrainian offensive has strained its military capabilities, exposing vulnerabilities that Ukraine has been quick to exploit. The battle for Kursk has forced Russia to reassess its defensive strategies and resource allocations, further complicating an already complex military landscape. As the conflict continues, the humanitarian toll becomes increasingly evident. The displacement of civilians and the destruction of infrastructure underscore the devastating impact of the war on ordinary people. With over 100,000 residents of Kursk evacuated, the human cost of this conflict is both profound and far-reaching. The international community's response to the situation remains critical. Diplomatic efforts aimed at de-escalating tensions and facilitating dialogue are essential to prevent further escalation and to lay the groundwork for a potential resolution. However, achieving lasting peace will require significant commitments from all parties involved, as well as sustained international support. In conclusion, the unfolding events in the Russia-Ukraine conflict serve as a stark reminder of the complexities and challenges inherent in modern warfare. As both sides grapple with the immediate military realities and broader strategic implications, the path forward remains uncertain. The lessons learned from this conflict may ultimately guide future efforts toward peace and stability, but for now, the world watches with bated breath, hoping for a resolution that can bring an end to the suffering and destruction. This section continues to explore the broader implications and potential outcomes of the ongoing conflict, keeping in line with the style and focus of the original text.